Okay. So now let us start with the class. So I'll be sharing the screen. Hare Krishna. I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, Prabhudev, we are able to see.
Okay. So today we are this chapter is specifically based on devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. In 6th chapter, we see that when Krishna is asked who is the topmost yogi, he says that the one who faithfully worships me in devotion is the topmost of all yogis. So this is the chapter where we see that um, Krishna specifically discusses about Bhakti Yoga. And first few shlokas talk about which form of devotion is better. Is it the impersonalist? See, many a times I have mentioned, what is impersonalism, the impersonal form of Lord. And in this chapter, Krishna himself uh, uh, will be, describing about this. What is this impersonalism, and what is devotional service, and which is better? Is it the personal form of service, or is it the impersonal form of service? Then we see after that few shlokas will be talking about like how Krishna gave us the various options that how we can perform our devotion service. Then we see last 8 shlokas are specifically it's even in fact known as priyashtakam. Priyashtakam means like Krishna in all the verses which are in the last 8 verses, he talks that he says that the devotee with such qualities is very dear to me. So that also we'll be discussing in great detail. So there are total of 20 shlokas in this chapter. So it's like one of the shortest chapters. Like we see that 15th chapter and the 12th chapter have the least number of shlokas, that is the 20 shlokas, but yet they are very important chapters. 15th chapter is Purushottam Yoga, and it is also very, it is also considered to be one of the very important chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So similarly, this chapter is also very important. It talks about various types of devotional service. Now, with the let us take the blessings of Shri Radha Govinda and Srila Prabhupada, so that we can successfully understand this message of Lord Krishna, which he is trying to explain in this chapter. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirantasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Very nice, Devyang Prabhu, that you have read the 15th chapter. We'll also be discussing about it in the later classes. So this is just to inform you everybody that most probably next week we'll have the quiz based on these 6 chapters, but there are a few teachers who haven't completed 12, who might need one more week for completing 12 chapters. So we are not completely sure if the quiz is going to be next week, but most probably they said that we will be having quiz next week. So I will send all the material, from 7th. So quiz will be based on 7 to 12 chapters, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So every 6 chapters, I told you before, we'll have a quiz. And since this is the last, chapter of this section of, this second module. So therefore, we'll be having the quiz based on this in the next class, probably. So in case if there are any changes, I will inform you. And also, I will also send the material starting from the 7th chapter to 12th chapter again, because some of them, they complain that we are not able to download it from the previous, messages and all. So what I'll do, I'll send it again. And in case if it's still not, if there is still problems in downloading, or if there is such kind of problems, you can inform me. Then what I'll do, I'll share a Google Drive on which I'll upload these things. And also I'll be sharing the links of the recordings for these classes. So in case you want, if you have missed any classes, or if you want to, understand, if you are like confused in anything, and you want to understand by what is taught in the class, then you can surely refer to those recordings. Okay. So next class, probably we might be having the exam. In case we don't have the exam, then we will also then we'll be having revision for these 6 chapters, and maybe next to next week we'll be having exam. In case there, I will send the messages accordingly to what is being seen in the further classes. Okay. So now let us see the synopsis of chapter 12. Okay. In many of the schools, what they do is that whenever you start a chapter, they will tell you the objectives, the learning objectives, on which why they are, basically, it gives you an idea that what all things, what all incidents, what all events are being going to be covered in the chapter. So this is also a type of synopsis which shows that, what, see, now see, first Krishna showed his universal form in 11th chapter. We just saw the universal form, the illumination given by the universal form is as equivalent as hundreds of thousands sun, rising up together. Then there are millions of faces, and they all are they're eating all the army people on the Kaurava side, like including Bhishma, Drona, all are Duryodhana, everybody are getting killed, and everybody are entering into the mouth of Lord Vishnu. So, or Lord Krishna. So, and also he sees various demigods and everything, that all things which we have described in the previous chapter. And at the end, we see that Arjuna, being fearful, he requests Lord Krishna to show his 400 form and then his 200 form. So Krishna shows his 400 form, that is Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, the 400 form of Lord Vishnu, and then he shows his personal 200 form. So we see that in this chapter we see that in fact, when we were talking about reasons why Arjuna wanted to see the universal form, in that we also discussed that actually Arjuna did not have any interest in seeing the opulence of the Supreme Lord. All those who are great devotees, they don't have any interest in seeing the opulence. Okay, they only have interest in having friendly matters, friendly relationships, or just like how the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they treated him like an ordinary person, though he was Lord Krishna himself. And it is not that they don't have knowledge. It's because they are by arrangement of Krishna, they are put into such illusion by Yogamaya, not Mahamaya. See, Mahamaya is the Maya that controls us, the 3 modes of material nature. Now, the Yoga Maya is the spiritual nature or the superior nature of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, it doesn't basically it doesn't put into illusion that is bad. It puts into illusion according to the will of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, they are they treat Krishna as an ordinary person because they are in excessive love with Lord Krishna. Okay. You should not compare with ourselves. Some atheistic people, oh, Krishna is just an ordinary person. No, you cannot compare the love of the gopis, just because you cannot, compare that. Okay. So they are under Yoga Maya and we are under Mahamaya. That's the difference. Okay. So therefore we see the great, very extremely great devotees, they don't have any interest in seeing the opulences of Lord, but Arjuna wanted to show to the entire world that, see, whoever claims to himself to be the Supreme Lord, then you have to show the universal form. It's the Lord Krishna kept a barrier or a standard to set that if you want to prove yourself to be the Supreme Lord, then you have to show the universal form. Okay. So therefore we see Arjuna was actually attached to the two-handed form of the Supreme Lord, and now he wants to clarify his position. That is, we'll see in this 12th chapter. Okay. And slowly he Lord Krishna talks about the devotional service. Okay. Now see, as I told you, first few shlokas will be talking about bhakti over impersonalism, then progressive stages of devotion from highest to lowest, and then qualities that endear one to Krishna. That is the last 8 shlokas, as I told, which are called as priyashtagam. Okay. Now let us start with the chapter. The first shloka. अर्जुन उवाच एवं सतत युक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्य अक्षरम अव्यक्तम तेषां के योगवित्तमः. Who would like to read the translation? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can I?
Yes.
Arjuna inquired, which is considered to be more perfect? Those who are properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, then manifested?
Okay. So as I told you, there are 2 ways of worshipping the Supreme Lord. One is you worship the, one is that you consider God as some form of energy, some form of light. Okay. Then you try to meditate constantly on that light. Okay. Which is just very tedious and very very like you can say almost impossible path for the people of Kali Yuga. And other ways that you personally serve the Shyam Sundar form of the Supreme Lord, the personal form of the Supreme Lord, where you meditate on his name, his form, his glories, and and not, you enjoy the service of the Supreme Lord, and then you go to the supreme abode of Lord Krishna. Okay. So Arjuna asked that, see, and now what you might be thinking is that the path which is more difficult would be considered to be more perfect. Okay. Because see, whenever people say if you go through the difficult path, that means that means you have done it more properly. But this is not what happens in this case. Let us see what Krishna explains in the upcoming shlokas. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Deme Yukta Tamahmata. Okay, anybody would like to see? I mean, read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
The blessed Lord said, he whose mind is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be most perfect. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, though. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So so here also Krishna says that the one who worships the personal form, like, see, here you can see the devotee who is decorating the deity of the Supreme Lord. Okay. So I think it's Mayapur DT, I'm not sure, but this is, this is what Krishna says, that the one who worships with the personal form of the Supreme Lord is always engaged in my transcendental faith, and by Lord Krishna himself, who is the Supreme Lord, he is only saying that which is the more ideal path for coming to him. So Krishna himself says that the worship of the personal form is more ideal and more perfect according to the opinion of Lord Krishna himself. Okay, so therefore, now let us see what he talks about the impersonal form. What he says about the impersonal form. Okay. So fix their minds on my personal form, worship me with great transcendental faith, always engaged in my worship. These are the three important points which are talked in this sloka. Now see here KC refers to Krishna consciousness. So active actions in Krishna consciousness, they lead that Krishna consciousness activities are not material because everything is done for Krishna. Okay, even though let us say you are you are studying. Okay, now see why you studying. You are studying, and why do normal people study? So that they can build a good career, get a good college, and at the end they can get a good placement or a good job where they can earn money, and they can satisfy their basic needs. Okay, of uh, where they can satisfy their basic needs and earn a livelihood so that they can live properly. Okay, now what is the mindset of a Krishna conscious devotee who, when he studies? Okay, the devotee always thinks that I will study to build a good career so that I can live in a house where I can peacefully chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you keep this level of mindset, that I will study in order to get a good, good place and good shelter where I can peacefully devote my a good amount of time in the service of the Supreme Lord, and where I can worship the Lord with, as much as I can. Okay, so if you have this mindset while studying, then your activities become spiritual. Okay, though now see, you might think that at the mind I will let us think like that, but at the end you might have some greed or something. Okay, so therefore for such a type of mindset also you need to develop devotion, faith and devotion in the Supreme Lord. Okay, I'll study for exams so that I can offer the result, whatever result comes, to Lord Krishna, so that I can, I can make the Supreme Lord happy. Okay, that also could be one of the mindset while you are preparing for any type of exams. So, like that, you have to keep your mindset. Okay. So therefore, even though they seem to be material, but it is not material because everything is done for Krishna. Okay, a pure devotee is in full samadhi because of his constant engagement. Chants, cooks, hears, shops, washes temples or dishes, do not waste a single moment. Okay, so devotee is, a pure devotee. Okay, he's in full samadhi already, even though he does activities, but he's still in samadhi because of his constant engagement. A pure devotee, either he'll be chanting or hearing from great devotees about shastras, then cooking for the Supreme Lord. Even shopping can be done for the Supreme Lord. Like in temples, you get so many. If you have visited temples, you get so many uh, so many things which you can use in your which you can use for the deity worship. Okay, so even shopping can be done for Supreme Lord. He washes. Okay, washing temple. Okay, now even if you are washing your even if you are washing your home, you can have a mindset that I am washing this home to keep this home and clean and tidy, so that Krishna can can stay and reside in our house. Okay, that mindset also you can keep. You can clean the dishes so that you can say that so that I can offer Krishna more, more better, in a more better way. Okay, and so such, even though he does such type of activities, it is all considered spiritual, and he doesn't waste a single moment. Okay. Okay. Anybody would like to read this translation?
Mataji, I am reading.
Okay. Anyone of you can read. Start.
But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the prescription of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So now see, as I told, let us see what Krishna talks about the impersonal worship of the Supreme Lord. These are the descriptions, who meditates on the unmanifested form, controlling all his senses, fixed, immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth. Okay, so see, this is what a devotee, a personalist thinks, and this is what impersonalist thinks. Impersonalist thinks that Krishna is, or the Supreme Lord is some form of light or energy. Okay. Many times in Shastras it is said that Krishna is Nirakar. Nirakar means no material form, but there is a spiritual form. Okay. But people who do not, understand the Shastras in under the guidance of a spiritual master, they will take their own interpretations, and because of that, they will, not be able to understand the real context and the real meaning explained by the Shastras. Okay. Okay, let us. So, such people, by controlling various senses, they undergo very. It's a very, very difficult path. But somehow uh, by this, at last, after all this, they'll achieve me. Okay, it's like if you want to go to the, if you want to go to the 8th floor of a building, you can either go through, you can either go through the stairs, or you can even go through the elevator. Okay, but you know that going through the stairs is a very tedious task. Okay, but at the end you will reach the same destination. See, what the ultimate goal is to reach the destination, but you can either reach it through the 8th floor, or you can even reach it through the you can reach it through the stairs, or you can even reach it through the lift. Okay. Now see, what does Srila Prabhupada say? That by practicing yoga, people try to stop the mind from thinking, but it is impossible. The goal of life is not to become unconscious, but to become super conscious. Okay. So, what see, in this impersonalist form of Lord, what they think is they are meditating on some form of light. Okay. So that means they are meditating on nothing. Now see, imagine, how can you meditate on nothing? So this is logically also you cannot, it's not possible. First of all, our mind is very, it is very um, restless. We saw no Chanchala mi mana Krishna Pramathi Balavadridam Tasyaham Nigraham Manye Vayorivasu Dushkaram. Arjuna says himself, a very great archer, he himself says that in the 6th chapter that Hare Krishna, everybody please stop unnecessary chats. Okay. Yes. So what does Krishna say? I mean, what does Arjuna say in the 6th chapter, 34th verse? That his mind is very restless, turbulent, and it is not possible to control it. But there is only way, it is in fact even more difficult to control. Uh, it's more difficult to control the mind rather than controlling the wind. First of all, wind is uh, very fast moving, so it is almost impossible. But Arjuna says that mind is even more difficult to control. So therefore, now at such situation, you try to, with such level of mind, you try to stop your mind from thinking, which is impossible. See, so therefore, now see, what does it mean you are not thinking? That means your mind is not active. When your mind is not active, what does act actually mean? That you are unconscious. See, a person who is unconscious, he doesn't have any thoughts. Okay. So therefore, the goal of life is not to become unconscious. It is to become super conscious. That you should increase your consciousness to such a level that even, like small problems and, miseries seem to be very small in front of you. Okay. So that is what is the goal of life, to increase the level of your consciousness, not to just nullify or become unconscious. Okay. 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 Now Krishna talks about the difficulty of this process. Okay. क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम् देहवद्भिरवाप्यते. Someone please read the sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I read?
Yes.
For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the supreme advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied.
Now see, previous sloka, even Srila Prabhupada talked about this. Now Krishna himself is telling that it's very, for those whose mind are attached to the unmanifested. Unmanifested means the impersonal form of the Supreme. It is very difficult, the advancement is very troublesome. Okay. Avyaktai gatir dukkham, that it is very, to make progress in that discipline, it is very difficult for those who are embodied. Means like they are saying that no living entities can rather do that. Okay. And see, let us say that even you achieve even you achieve the goal of impersonalism. Now, what does liberation mean according to them? Means merging into the for them, liberation means merging into the impersonal form of the Lord. So what happens is that they themselves become impersonal. Okay. So with that, they themselves become impersonal, and by becoming impersonal, now what happens is that as soon as they get desire, so Krishna will try to fulfill their desire, their material desire. So they will immediately get a body, and they again have to start the process from scratch. That you have to, attain the impersonal form, and then they will again do. So it's like, first of all, already the progress is very troublesome. In that also, there is no guarantee that you after achieving this state, you will never come back to this material world. There is no guarantee. Therefore the advancement and the progress is first of all very troublesome, and that too it is temporary. Okay. It's just like, see, while you are going through the stairs, okay, there are chances that you can slip. Okay. And if you slip, sometimes people have even like people have even died, from slipping from the stairs. Okay, so therefore it's like very difficult. Okay, going through this, it's just this, as I'm comparing with the stairs and the elevator example, you can try to understand. Okay, so first of all, the progress is very troublesome and the result is also temporary. Okay, now comparison between personalists and personalists. Personalists are those who worship on the personal form of the Lord, and impersonalists are those who worship the on the formless. Okay, then okay, now see, unmanifested is beyond the senses. Okay, so basically you have to restrict all your senses. Okay, but for the personalist, they can engage all their senses in the service of Lord. Okay, they can use their ears in hearing the sound vibration of the holy name. They can use their tongue for eating Krishna prasadam and I mean honoring Krishna prasadam, and also they can use it for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You can use your eyes for having darshan of the Supreme Lord. You can use your nose in the for smelling the flowers that are offered to the Supreme Lord. You can use your feet to circumambulate circumambulate the temple. You can use your hands for various kinds of activities, uh, which help which come under devotional service. So like that, it's not restricting you senses, in fact it is engaging the senses. Okay, so that is much more easier. Now for impersonalists, they understand the Brahman through the Upanishads. Now to understand the Upanishads, first they need to learn the Sanskrit language, and they have to understand non-perceptual feelings. Okay, now understanding Krishna is very easy. Okay, simply chanting Hare Krishna mantra, guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, and simply by offering the regulative obeisances unto the deity, hearing the glories, eating the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the Lord, you can easily attain the Supreme Lord. Okay, so for us, to understand the Shastras, we don't even need to learn Sanskrit. Okay, see, we don't know that what does Klesho mean, what is Adhikaras, but still see, since through English also we can understand what is the message or what is the meaning. Okay, so first of all, it's not at all tedious, and even if you don't know what, in fact, I'll okay, let me tell a pastime. Okay, once what happened is that there was a Brahmana or a devotee. Okay, he didn't know how to pronounce proper Sanskrit. Okay, like he now what his spiritual master is told, that you can just just stay just read, try to read the slokas in that's what, and you will attain the Supreme Lord. That's what his spiritual master told. So he was following the orders. Okay, but everybody used to make fun of his pronunciation. He couldn't properly read the slokas, or he used to say some uh, words that would give out a very different meaning. So therefore, he was not well versed with the slokas. Okay, so now see, first of all, he doesn't know how to pronounce the slokas, so that means he can't even understand the meaning of the slokas. Okay, now every day he does that. Okay, and every day people come to make fun of that Brahmana. Okay, now one day what happened, now see, Krishna is present in everybody's heart as super soul. Okay, now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay, who is Radha and Lord Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna's combined form, came. Okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came once to that Brahmana. Okay, that he asked. Okay, in fact, of course, Krishna being the super soul, he knows everything, but still, as a pastime, he asked, that why are you reading these shlokas every day, though you don't even understand the meaning and you can't even pronounce properly. Okay, It's like, then he said, that is the order of my spiritual master. Okay. Now, now see, tell me what you understand from these shlokas. Like, I don't know proper Sanskrit, so I don't, uh, I don't know proper Sanskrit, so I don't know any meanings of the shlokas. Okay. So like, then why are you taking this book every day and trying to read? Okay. Then what does he say? There are various beautiful pictures given in this, along with this Bhagavad Gita. Whenever they say, no, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, oh, Krishna said, like that. He always, I always imagine, how wonderful is Krishna, that, even though he is the Supreme Lord himself, he took a very, menial position of a charioteer for his dear devotee Arjuna. This is what I always, wonder whenever I look at this Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Now, even though he doesn't understand any meaning of the slokas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Krishna himself, he told that you don't even need to know the meaning. You have understood the message of Bhagavad Gita. He's like, the Brahman is like, how? Then, like, the main message of Bhagavad Gita is to attain this pure love and devotion for the Supreme Lord. And since you have already achieved it, you don't have to, even read Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, this is how we see that the personalist, this form of devotion, in fact, you can even understand the message of Bhagavad Gita without actually knowing the meaning. Okay. So, therefore, it is this process is very simple. Now, impersonalist form is a long practice and it's difficult to take up, while personalist form, it is completely natural. Impersonalist is the path is very troublesome, while as in personalist, the miseries are mitigated by the relation with Krishna. In impersonalist, it depends on our own endeavor, while in personalist, Krishna himself reciprocates and delivers the devotees from the Maya, because Krishna himself recommends this process out of paternal love and by his causeless mercy. Comparison of Bhagavan versus Brahman. Brahman is nirguna without qualities. Bhagavan is saguna with qualities. Okay. Inconceivable, possess unconceivable potencies. Okay. That is achintya beda tattva. Okay. All pervading by energy as super soul. That's what how you try to understand. Okay. Actually. Unchanging, fixed and immovable. Unchanging, fixed and immovable. Cannot perceive any opulence because of lack of activity. Possessor of 6 opulences in full. Risk of not realizing absolute truth at end. Success is guaranteed as nothing is lost. In fact, in the second chapter, we see that 40th sloka we see Neha Bhikrama Nashosti Pratyavayona Vidyate Swalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhaya. That in this endeavor of devotion, there is no there is no loss that you'll ever achieve. But in fact, even smallest endeavor can help save you from the greatest misery of life. Okay. Many people realize that the eternal means Satchit Ananda are aspects of his original nature. Realize Satchit Ananda, including Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan realization. Okay. So this is the comparison. Now let us see the next shloka. Yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasa matpara anyadnyanaiva yogena mam dhyayanta ubhasate teshamaham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha mayi aveshita chetasam. Okay. Someone please read the translation.
Prabhuji, I am reading. For
Yes.
me, one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in the devotional service and always meditating upon me, who has fixed his mind upon me, O son of Pritha, for him I am the swift deliverer of from the ocean of birth and death. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna, what he talks is that one who fixes his mind on me, Krishna himself delivers the devotee from the ocean of birth and death. In fact, there's a nice analogy which says that if you are performing devotional service, see, for a normal person, to reach the material, to reach the spiritual world is the ocean. You have to cross the ocean of knee signs. Okay, it's an analogy. Okay, try to understand. Like, you have to reach a destination, but for that you need to cross the ocean. Okay, now the destination is spiritual abode, the spiritual and ocean refers to the material nature or the material world of miseries. Okay, so I have to cross this ocean of ignorance to to reach the destination. Okay, now see, for a devotee what happens is that by the blessings of Lord Krishna, as soon as he tries to enter into this, the entire ocean gets gets absorbed in a space which is as equivalent to the calf's hoof sprint. Okay, you know, you might have seen the cow, a calf's legs. Okay, they will be very small. Okay, so means one hoof print, in that much less space, the entire ocean gets absorbed. Okay, and then therefore the devotee can easily cross over the ocean of ignorance because it's already gone, and he can easily walk through and go to the spiritual abode. I think there is a picture also, if I can show you. Okay, let us see the next verse. This is now the progressive stages of devotion service, which you saw in the second section. Okay, so Mayeva mana adatsma mayi buddhi niveshaya nivishishyasi mayeva ata urdhvam na samshaya. Someone please read the translation.
Prabhuji, I am reading. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, so here also Krishna is saying that this is the highest form of bhakti. That is, just fix your mind, okay, and engage all your intelligence with me. You will always live in me without a doubt. Okay, this is Ananya Bhakti. Okay, okay, this is the Ananya Bhakti. Okay, so therefore, this is what Krishna explains, that by fixing the mind, you can engage all your intelligence with me. You will live with me without a doubt. Now we know, since our mind is very restless, it's almost impossible to do that. Okay. Now these are the progressive stage. Okay. This first is Ananya Bhakti. Then next is Sadhana Bhakti. Then this is Nishkam Karma Yoga. And other is renunciation, cultivation of knowledge, and meditation, which is indirect form. Okay. Now this highest stage is pure devotional service, Ananya Bhakti, which is not possible for us. Okay. Atha chittam samadhatum nashokshnosi mahi sthiram abhyasena tu gaunteya mam ipchaptum dhananjaya abhyasa yogena tato mam ipchaptum dhananjaya. Someone please read the translation.
Prabhuji, I am reading. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain me. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So see, many of the devotees come in this category, that they are trying to they are trying to achieve the devotional service, and they are following the regulative principles of Bhagavad Yoga. There are in fact 4 regulative principles which are established in the established by Srila Prabhupada according to the reference of the Shastras. No meat eating, no gambling, no meat eating, no gambling, then no intoxication and no illicit sex. Okay, these are the 4 regulative principles, and along with that, Srila Prabhupada says to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly and reading of the Shastras regularly. Okay, these are the regulative principles which are told. Okay, and by this you can slowly develop a desire to attain the Supreme Lord. Okay, now this is the next option. Okay, now Krishna says that abhyasapyartham arthosi abhyase apya asamarthosi wait abhyase apya asamarthosi madkarma paramo bhava madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. Someone please read the
Prabhuji, I'm reading.
yeah.
If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect state.
Yes. So Krishna is that in case you are not even following any regulative principles or something, then what you do is that whatever you do, offer the results to me. So that is, if you cannot practice the regulations, then just try to work for me, and by this you can come to the perfect stage. Okay. Now these are the direct forms of bhakti yoga. Okay, now there is indirect form. Okay. अथैतद अप्य असक्तो से कर्तुम मद्योगम आश्रित सर्वकर्म फल त्यागम तथा कुरु यतात्मवान. Okay, if however you are unable to work in this consciousness, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. Okay, now this is sakam karma yoga. Now see, in case you are such a type of person that you even more, you are attached to the results of the fruits also, and you want to work also, then whatever you do, just do one thing. Whatever you do, just try to give up, try to give up all the results. You can do like moral good things like charity or something, and just remember the Supreme Lord. Okay, at such type of using your wealth in such a type of process. Okay, Shreyo jnanam abhyasaj jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyagas tyagat chantir anantaram. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge is, however, meditation. And better than meditation is renunciation of fruits of actions. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. Okay. So here also they are talking about Jnana Yoga, that is a cultivation of knowledge. Then they are talking about Dhyana Yoga, that is meditation. And also they are talking about renunciation of fruits of action. Okay. Now we are coming to the priyashtagam, that is qualities that endear one to Krishna. Okay. Okay. Let us see. Someone please read the translation for this.
I am reading.
Yes.
One who is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself as a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee is very dear to me. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes. So here they are talking about various qualities like tolerance, then having being equal in both happiness and distress, free from false ego, always satisfied, self-control, determination, fixing mind on the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee is very dear to me. So see, people are like, how to be, how to attain moral values, okay? Because it's very difficult that you keep up with all the principles, okay? So now, if you perform devotional service, okay, for a devotee, see, let us say you are trying to attain humility, okay. So what happens is that you are specifically trying to get humility, okay. Be humble, okay. Now even if someone tries to insult you, then also you will be like, okay, no problem, and you will forgive, and that's how you try to be humble. But how far can you be humble, okay? At some point of time you see that you might lose all your humility and become very angry, okay. Now but see, for a devotee, okay, who is there, he automatically becomes humble, okay. For him, he doesn't have to practice humility specifically, okay. He doesn't have to practice a particular quality. Automatically all these qualities are or come in a person who performs devotional service, okay. यस्मान्नो द्विजतो लोको यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्ष भयो वेद भयोद्वेगैर मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रिय. He who for him no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anxiety, who is steady in happiness and distress, is very dear to me, okay. A person who does not give make others in trouble, okay. In fact, sometimes you might have done some wrongdoing, okay, and to save yourself, sometimes you pinpoint at others, you complain at others to save yourself. But a devotee, for him, he never puts anybody to difficulty, okay. And he's neither disturbed, okay, never disturbed. He's steady in happiness and distress, is very dear to Lord Krishna. अनेपेक्षा सुचिर्दक्षा उदासीनो गता व्यथा सर्वारंभा परित्यागी योम भक्त समे प्रिया. A devotee who is dependent on the ordinary course of activities, one who is pure, expert, without cares, free from pains, and who does not strive for some result, is dear to me, okay. Okay, so devotee, see, who is not dependent on the ordinary activities, who is expert, pure, without cares, free from all pains, and does not strive for some result, is very dear to me. Now see, Krishna here mentioned without cares, okay. So does that mean a devotee is irresponsible? So see, here what they mean, without cares, okay. Let us try to understand, okay. See, now there is a people, what they think is carefree and careless is the same thing. No, carefree is different from careless, okay. In fact, if you know a little bit of Hindi, actual meaning of carefree will be beparwa, and the actual meaning of careless will be laparwa, okay. So there is a slight difference between carefree and careless, okay. Carefree is the person who, see, careless is a person who does not care about doing the work also, okay. But carefree is a person who is responsible enough to do the actions, but he does not care about the results that come after the actions. So here without cares means he's carefree, not careless, okay. So this slight margin of difference you have to understand, okay. हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न कांक्षति शुभाशुभा प्रतित्यागी भक्तिमान स यस मे प्रिय. One who neither grasps pleasure or grief, neither laments nor desires, one who renounce both auspicious and inauspicious things, is very dear to me, okay. Okay. Means for the sake of the Supreme Lord, a devotee can do anything. That's what is basic meaning of this sloka. And one who neither laments nor desires is very dear to me. Okay. Now let us go to the next sloka. Anybody would like to read the translation for this? Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to read the translation? Okay, let me read. And who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and disorder, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, always free from contamination, always silent and satisfied with anything, who does not care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and engaged in devotional service, is very dear to me. So one who is equipoised, in any situation is considered to be a very dear devotee. Okay. This is the last sloka. He who follows this imperishable path of devotional service, who completely engage himself with faith, making me the supreme goal, is very, very dear to me. Okay. So one who at the end, what Krishna says, a devotee who follows the devotional service of the path of this devotional service and engaging his completely in faith will is very dear to Lord Krishna. The dearest of all is one who makes Krishna the goal of life. So with this, we'll come to the end of the chapter. I hope you were able to understand each and everything. Arya Simha Prabhu, Hare Krishna. You have any doubts or something?
Yes, Mother. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, what is the longest chapter in Bhagavad Gita?
Longest chapter is the 18th chapter, 78 verses. After that, the next longest chapter is the second chapter with 72 verses. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anything else you want to know?
Nothing, Prabhuji. That's all I had.
Okay. Basically, 18th chapter is the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That's why, since it's talking about everything, therefore it's like the conclusion of the entire Bhagavad Gita. That's why it's the longest chapter. Now, I'll be sharing the attendance link, after which you can leave. I'll say the concluding prayers first. Mancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant Kodi Vaishnavriddhi ki jai. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. I hope you received the attendance link in the chat. You may please fill the form. You can inform me and then you can leave. Okay.